I made it! I made it again. I'm late again, though. 3 minutes late. Oh well, that's okay. So guys, you can see behind me, let me just fix this real quick. There we go. It's a little better. I know, I'm wearing the same shirt as last time, but my hair's sort of done. I mean, I don't know. I guess it'll do. Hi, honey. This is Gladiator by Zade Wolf. And Zade Wolf was super cool enough to be like, yeah, you can use my music. Sure, you know. If the producers or copyright people get all up in my face, then I guess I'll have to do something. But he personally found me, or I found him actually. He responded on Twitter and he's like, yeah, use my music. Great song. If you haven't heard of Zade Wolf, look him up. Awesome. It's kind of like what I want to try to be. It's a gladiator. Gladiator of fantasy football. All right, guys, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining me. This is, I think, our second weekly Wednesday. I tried this wind-up Wednesday. I don't know if this is backwards to you guys. If it is, whatever. Sorry, look at it in a mirror. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, good fantasy team name, Gladiator. It is. We need to have something like catchy and punny with the Gladiator part on it. But yeah, it is Gladiator or Gladiatress. If I'm a chick, would that work? I don't know. But thank you guys for joining me. How's your day today? Mine is crazy. Good, but crazy. I'm a little discombobulated today. My brain is going at about 8,000 miles an hour. So if I totally mess up today, I need y'all to like help me out. Like if I say wrong names, if I don't switch my little slide thing going here, let me know. Oh, I like that. I don't even know if I can say that. Galliator, like a gator? I don't know. I like that though. That's very clever. I like that a lot. So guys, today what we're gonna do is talk about some draft strategies. And instead of just regurgitating this crap at you, so it's kind of like in one ear, out the other, you're like, yeah, blah, 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 yap, yap, yap. I'm actually gonna mock draft with these 4 draft strategies. And you can find a ton of really good information on draft strategies on the fantasyfootballers.com, especially my colleague, Michael Wenrick. I think I said that right. I asked him how to pronounce his name. He does an excellent series on roster-based construction, which I will go over as well. I'm not going to touch on auction today, just because that's kind of a different beast. This is going to be a snake draft, but I've got 4 different draft strategies that we're going to be talking about today. The first one is going to be pretty basic. It's tier rankings based. So we're going to be looking at, I mean, obviously self-explanatory, tier breakdowns and rankings, that drafting that way, the pros and cons of that, some pitfalls that you should probably avoid when you're using that strategy to draft. The other one we're going to do is the controversial 0 RB draft strategy. We're going to mock with that. The 0 wide receiver draft strategy. And then after that, we are going to look at the roster-based construction. And sorry if I'm a little shiny. I am working on my lighting here. I have to make do with what I got. I don't have like a studio, so this is my office. So I'm trying to figure out how best to do it. I know my TV looks like it's nuclear right now and glowing, but sorry. We'll figure it out. I don't know. I'll get like some diffusion paper or something like that, you know, not to worry. So as you can see, which you probably can't see because I'm looking at this and I can't see it. So that means you guys probably can't. So we'll work on that for next time. But find me on all sorts of social media platforms, guys. Let me just go back here real quick. For those of you who are joining me, Wednesday, this is a weekly Wednesday. I'm calling it Wind Up Wednesday because in the regular season, we're going to be winding up to Thursday night football, Sunday football, Monday night football. And during this time, I'm going to be giving you guys some Thursday night football fantasy previews, some starts and sits for the weekend. But we're not in the football season yet. I mean, I know tomorrow is going to like officially week 1 of preseason, but this is what we're doing. And the song I was just playing is by Zade Wolf. If you haven't heard of him, go download his music. He's fantastic. Also a really good guy. So let's go ahead and just get started. Let me go ahead to this next slide that no one can read. But you guys can find me everywhere. On Twitter, at StepMomLauren. You can find me on Instagram, at StepMomLauren. You can find me on Facebook. Please like my Facebook page, facebook.com/StepMomLauren. Pretty self-explanatory. For anyone who is missing this and perhaps watching on YouTube, and for those of you who don't know, I have a YouTube channel. I don't have enough subscribers yet to have a custom URL. So do me a favor, guys, like my page. So go to YouTube, search Stepmom Lauren. You'll find my smiling mug on there. like my page, turn on the notifications. I'll be adding at least 2 videos a week for you guys, and during the regular season, it's to help you guys win. That's what I want to do, is help you guys win. I frankly don't really care how I do. I mean, I do, let's be honest, but I want you guys to win. I want you guys to be like, oh my gosh, Lauren, thank you so much. You helped me out. Because that makes me feel good, even if I lose. I want you guys to win, because that's going to be awesome. Again, find me everywhere, Stepmom Lauren. If you're really into pornography, go ahead and Google it. That's not my jam. But oddly enough, if you Google fantasy Stepmom Lauren, it's all my stuff and it's super clean. Who knew? Who knew? Anywho, let me get out of my iTunes here and let's go ahead and get started. Let's see, that's Chrome. And again, guys, bear with me because first time I've done a mock draft live. You guys won't be able to see it, unfortunately, so I'm sorry about that. But I have Fantasy Pros here, which I love to mock with. So first one we're going to do is tier-based. And let me just give you a little bit of, see, look, mock draft strategy number 1. I feel so very professional right now. Even though you can't read, it says mock draft strategy. Maybe you can. I don't know. I can't in the reflection, so whatever. But tier-based, tier ranking based. That's probably I have it written like that, so I probably should say it like that. So here we go. We're going to do tier ranking. So for anyone who isn't familiar with what tiers mean, think of rankings, but you put them into buckets, if you will. So you have your players ranked, let's say 1 to 10, 1 to 20, 1 to 50, whatever. So you take those guys and you lump them into what Mike Wright from the Fantasy Footballers, my boss, calls buckets, right? So you have tier 1, which is the best, tier 2, tier 3, all the way down the line. And the point of these buckets, or tiers, if you will, is to see which players are going to be scoring similar amounts of points that they have projected throughout the season. So you're not really looking too much at their actual rankings. You're looking at what they think they could score. And the reason why this is so important is because if you miss out on a guy that you really want, all you have to do is go to the tier breakdowns, right? And find the guy who's in the same tier, who's going to be scoring a similar amount of points, which is pretty awesome about tier breakdowns. However, the pitfall with using tier-based to draft is that you don't know ADP, which is average draft position. So if you're, let's say, looking for Robbie Anderson, he's going a lot later than somebody else in his tier. Say, for example, I think Adam Thielen is in the same tier as Robbie Anderson. Adam Thielen's going really early. Robbie Anderson is going really late. So you may fall into the trap of accidentally taking someone way too early when you can wait on that player. So just be aware of that if you're using tier breakdowns to draft. Have an idea of their ADP as well as their rankings. But let's go ahead. Let's get started. So you guys know what I'm doing here. I'm going to go ahead and go with the preferred scoring method of the Fantasy Footballers because that's what I use for all of my research and stuff. So let's just be consistent. Let's stick with it. So we're doing half PPR. We are going to do a snake draft. And 12 teams, and for all of these drafts I'm going to do today, I'm going to draft from the 7th position. The most wretched position ever to draft from are those middling spots, because they're awful. It's just, ugh. But sometimes we get stuck with them, which I seem to get it all the time. So let's practice. Let's practice how we're going to do this. And the first one we're going to do, in case anyone's just joining me, we are going to do the tier rankings based, just using that to draft, and we're going to see what our team looks like. And I'm wearing the Sports Outliers shirt because tonight I am using these lineups that I create to talk about draft strategies with Mark Drumheller and Sports Outliers. You can find their podcast on iTunes. It's absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to be using all this information and taking it over into the podcast that I'm going to be on tonight. So that's why I'm representing, again, even though I wore the same shirt last week, but you'll get over it, I'm sure. It's not a big deal. So here's my roster that I'm going to be drafting. So just to keep it consistent, we've got 1 quarterback. We've got 2 running backs. We've got 2 wide receivers, a tight end. We also have a flex spot. And just because everyone usually has it, we have a defense. No kicker. But we do have 6 bench spots. So let's go ahead and give it a try. Again, we're drafting from the 7th position. So let's see how it goes, guys. Start your draft. I need like music to go with this. Okay, so obviously, as you guys can probably imagine, right off the board, wow. Okay, so off the board first, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott, David Johnson, and Devontae Adams. Those are the 6 right off the board. So here's what I am left with. And if I'm looking at my tier breakdowns right now, I need to decide if I want to go running back first or if I want to go wide receiver first. So what do you guys think? Should I go wide receiver or should I go running back? I'll give you guys, hi from Ireland. How you doing? Thank you for joining me. Wow, awesome. Ireland's a beautiful country. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love Ireland. Okay, so if no one's going to answer, running back, wide receiver, I'm just going to say let's go running back. So here are options. Actually, that's just wide receiver. Suggested players to consider. Let's go running back. Okay, so the options that we have right now are James Conner, Le'Veon Bell, Joe Mixon, or Nick Chubb at the running back position. And for wide receiver, we've got DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, Odell Beckham Jr., and Michael Thomas. So knowing what I know about rankings, and if we want to be all like precise, we can go over to the Fantasy Footballers Ultimate Draft Kit. Okay, no whiteouts. I got you. All right, running back first. All right, thank you. That's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and go to the Ultimate Draft Kit. This has all of their rankings grouped by tiers. So let's take a look at who are we going to take a look at? That's wide receiver. You wanted running back. Running back we shall do. So running back, James Conner, Le'Veon Bell, Joe Mixon, and Nick Chubb. I want to see where they are based on tiers. So I'm going to go over to the Ultimate Draft Kit, which I own, which I highly suggest everyone buy. It's on my website, stepmomlauren.com. Go buy it. All right, so let's see. In tier 2, we have, already taken tier 2. Now let's go down to tier 3. Todd Gurley, Le'Veon. Okay, so this is really interesting right here. So the Fantasy Footballers have Le'Veon Bell in tier 3. And in tier 4, we have James Conner and Joe Mixon. So if I'm using my tier-based strategy, I can see here that even though James Conner is on the board and Le'Veon Bell is on the board, I see that Le'Veon Bell actually is in a higher tier than James Conner. So you know what? I'm going to draft Le'Veon Bell. Drafting him. Okay, so we have our first pick, Le'Veon Bell. I know that might be controversial because he's with the Jets now, so we don't really know what's going on with him, but fear not. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so then after that, let's see, who do we have available now? So for the running backs, we have Joe Mixon, Damian Williams, Marlon Mack, and Kerryon Johnson. Okay, this is when it starts getting interesting if you're using tiers. So Kerryon Johnson is in the same tier as Joe Mixon. So those guys are going to score roughly the similar amount of points according to the Fantasy Footballers, which is pretty interesting. And who else did we say was on there? Damian Williams. I'm staying away from Damian Williams personally. Now we're going all the way down to tier 5. What do you guys think? Should I go running back again or should I go wide receiver? I'll give you guys 3 seconds. 3 seconds. 3 seconds. Nobody? Okay, well, let's just try to do another. I don't want Joe Mixon. I never draft Joe Mixon. That's just a personal choice. Let's go see what our wide receivers are. Juju Smith-Schuster is available. He is in a very high tier. Let's go ahead and get Juju. Okay, so far my team is Le'Veon Bell and Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm liking this so far. Not bad. Okay, so now we have in the wide receiver position, T.Y. Hilton, Amari Cooper, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs. This is interesting because the Thielen-Diggs conundrum. I wonder what we're going to do. Let's see for running backs. Running backs are already starting to get a little bit drowned out here. So we've got Marlon Mack, Aaron Jones, Leonard Fournette, and Josh Jacobs. So let's go back to our tier breakdowns. And let's take a look at where we see, okay, Joe Mixon's still available. I'm not taking him. All right, Aaron Jones is in the same tier as Nick Chubb, which isn't even in here yet. This is interesting. Okay, that means I can probably wait on Nick Chubb. But you know what? Let's go ahead. What do you guys think? Fantasy Pros suggests Marlon Mack. I like Aaron Jones, but let's be safe. Let's go ahead and go with Marlon Mack. So we got Le'Veon Bell, Marlon Mack, and Juju Smith-Schuster so far. So I want to get another wide receiver just to balance myself out here. So who do we have in the wide receiver? Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, Kenny Golladay, or Chris Godwin. Again, let's go back to our tier breakdowns, not necessarily at rankings. All right, sorry, see. I knew that was probably going to stop off. Let's see if it pops back up. Boink, there we go. So that's not what we want. We're doing that one. Okay, so what did I say here? Okay, we're looking at wide receivers. Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, or Kenny Golladay. I really like having a piece of that Rams offense. So for me, it's going to have to do with which guy it is that I want. No. I'm scrolling down here on the UDK tier breakdowns. Okay, here's what's interesting. Robert Woods is in tier 4. And Brandon Cooks is in the next tier at tier 5. So this is telling me, excuse me, that Robert Woods is going to probably score just a hair more points than Brandon Cooks will. And here's something very interesting too to note. Robert Woods is in the same tier as Adam Thielen. yet Adam Thielen went off the board 2 rounds ago. Very interesting to note when you're looking at your drafting. So, okay, let's go ahead. I know this might be kind of boring because this is like whatever, but I'm going to go with Robert Woods because it says to draft Brandon Cooks, but I like Robert Woods better. He's in a higher tier. See, this is what's different. So different platforms are going to suggest different people to you, but if you have an idea of what it is that you're looking for, let's go for it. Okay, so I've got my first 4 starters here that I really like. Le'Veon Bell, Marlon Mack, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Robert Woods. So let's go ahead and stick with, okay, we don't want to go quarterback yet. It's still a little bit too early. Robert Woods, tight end, flex. Who do we got? Let's see all of them. I only have that. Suggested players to consider. Okay, guys, Alshon Jeffrey, OJ Howard is already going as a tight end. That seems a little high to me. Let's see. Or Sony Michel. I don't mind going with Alshon Jeffrey. Let's do that. Okay, so that's our flex. All right, guys, so here we go. Here is where my tier-based team looks like right now, which is actually pretty good. Sony Michel, you can actually wait another round on Sony, which, you know what? Can you? No, you can't. He went right after I did. So I could have picked up Sony Michel there for my flex. It just was really going to depend on what it is that you want to do and how your roster is set up. But Sony was a good one there. I just missed out on him, which I kind of wish I had now. I wish I could have gone back. I don't like that. That stinks. Okay, whatever. So this is tier-based and rankings-based way to construct your roster here. So far, I've got Le'Veon Bell, Marlon Mack, Juju, Robert Woods, and Alshon Jeffrey. I'll go ahead and go through the rest of these on my own. I don't want to bore you guys with the rest of this because I think you guys already know the whole deal with tiers, with rankings. Keep an eye on average draft position. There could be a player who is in a higher tier yet is going super late. For example, my suggestion on that was Robbie Anderson. So there's that. Just have an idea of where those guys are ranked and where they're going. Just avoid those pitfalls when you're using strictly tier rankings based. Okay, so now that that's done, I'll fill the rest of that out later. I'll tweet it out. I'll show you guys, let you guys know what it is. Let's go to the second one, which is usually a little bit controversial, which is the 0 RB strategy. And I know so many people are like, yeah, no. Why would you wait and not draft a running back until the 5th, 6th, sometimes 7th round? That is what the 0 RB strategy means. It means you completely just punt the position all the way up until, like I said, 5th, 6th, or 7th round. Why would you ever do that? Well, there could be a strategy behind this. So again, sticking with that same roster, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, 1 flex, and 1 defense. We are going to punt the running back position all the way until the 6th or 7th, and we're going to see what we have. So why not, guys? Let's get started. This one is always so strange. But this one I'm going to go all the way through, whereas tier-based rankings I did not. So let's try it out. Okay, and again, we're drafting from the 7th position. And if you are in one of those middle draft rounds, if you wanted to take a stab at doing a 0 RB type strategy, from the middle to late rounds of your draft is the only time I would ever recommend doing that, because the stud running backs are already off the board, and there are other running backs that are available a little bit later that may have some pretty high value this year. If you're early, don't be afraid to take Zeke. Don't be afraid to take Saquon. Don't be silly. Take them. Silly. Whatever. Anywho, all right, so with the 0 RB strategy, we are not even looking at running backs until like the 5th, 6th, or 7th round. Let's be spicy and make it the 6th to 7th. So since we're only looking at wide receivers, we've got DeAndre Hopkins, Davante Adams, which that's amazing. You know what? I'm just going to sort all of these guys by wide receiver. Okay, so we got DeAndre Hopkins, Davante Adams, Julio Jones, or Michael Thomas. This is a no-brainer. Let's go Hopkins. He is an absolute stud. So we got Hopkins. That's our first guy. Again, no running backs yet. This is only the 2nd round. We have to wait. So next we have Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans, or Antonio Brown. I personally like Juju here. Okay, our team is now Hopkins and Juju Smith-Schuster. OBJ is a good one too. Let's see if he's still going to be available. Hold on. Let me take a look and see if he's gone. I can't see right now, but he might be gone. There's just a lot of names here. It's hard for me to keep up. Anywho. Okay, so we're still looking at wide receivers. We've got DeAndre Hopkins and we've got Juju. It's not early enough to take a running back yet, according to the 0 RB strategy. Here we go. We've got Amari Cooper, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, or Julian Edelman. Again, guys, this is the 3rd round. 3rd round here. Amari Cooper, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, or Julian Edelman. You guys have anyone you want to shout out at me real quick before I just make a selection? Diggs. All right, we got 1 vote for Diggs. It's kind of early, though. Diggs may fall to us. We never know. Diggs and Julian, okay? Now, remember, we're not taking a running back until round 5th or 6th. So we've got Diggs and Julian. I don't know about Amari Cooper simply because he's Amari Cooper and totally unpredictable. I don't care what offense he's on. So Diggs and Julian, Diggs and Julian, Diggs and Julian. Anyone else want a tiebreaker here? Anyone else want to throw one out? 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, since Diggs was first, we're going to draft Diggs. All right, so we've got DeAndre Hopkins, we've got Juju, we've got Diggs. All right, cool. Awesome, Diggs from the UK. So Diggs was the right answer. Cool. So we're still looking at wide receivers. We're in our 4th pick now looking at wide receivers. Guess who fell to us? Julian Edelman. So Julian Edelman fell to us, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, and Chris Godwin. I'm going to have my pick here, and I'm going to go ahead and go with Julian Edelman. So guys, if you're just joining and you're wondering what the heck is going on, I'm mock drafting from the 7th position of a 12-team league at half PPR, and we are doing the 0 RB strategy right here, which means we do not draft a running back until the 5th, 6th, or 7th round. I'm making it kind of annoying, and I'm going to go for the 6th to 7th position just to be kind of fun. So here we are. We are now at 1, 2, 3, 4. We are on our 5th pick right now. So we could possibly look at some running backs. So if we go ahead and go with what running backs are available, Mark Ingram, Phillip Lindsay, James White, Kenyon Drake. And the other wide receivers we still have available are Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, Mike Williams, or Robbie Anderson. Okay, guys, because I said I was going to be spicy, I'm taking another wide receiver, and I'm going to punt the position one more. Just one more. That's like a famous line at my house. Just go with it. I'm going to go ahead and go with Robbie Anderson because I think he has a lot of upside. Okay, so my wide receivers are now good. I've got, again, just to recap you guys, DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster, Stephon Diggs, Julian Edelman, Robbie Anderson. There is one thing I did here that I did not, that's when people using the 0 RB strategy, what they do is they often take a high-end tight end in a 0 RB. I did not do that here. But you can. If you're going to do the 0 RB strategy, that leaves you room to take a Travis Kelce, to take a Zach Ertz, to take a George Kittle. You can use that draft capital because you're not worrying about the running back position until later. I did not do this in this draft, but you can do that with the 0 RB strategy. So now that's done, let's take a look at what we've got. So we are looking at either tight end or we're going to look at running backs. Now this is what is so interesting to me. Look at this. Our first running back that's available to us is James White. And if you're in half PPR or if you're in PPR, he is a stud. He's an absolute stud. He had 123 targets last year, and he scored more receiving touchdowns than he did rushing touchdowns. So to me, this is a no-brainer. I'm going to take James White. But just so you guys have an idea of what's going on here, James White, Kenyon Drake, Baker Mayfield, Hunter Henry. I still think we can wait a little bit on a quarterback. I'm going to go ahead and go with James White, but Kenyon Drake is also available, whom I also love in PPR. So either of those guys, go for it. Yes, and White for the 0 RB. Thank you for agreeing with me. I always like it when people agree with me because I like to be right. That's how I roll. Okay, guys, and we're still looking at running backs here. So we've got, or tight ends or quarterbacks if you want to, but I think the value for running back that we can squeeze out of this, strategy, if you will, is going to be in these positions right now. So here's who we have. Let's go back to all running backs just so I don't get confused. All right, guys, here we go. We've got Tariq Cohen, we've got Tevin Coleman, Latavius Murray, and Rashad Penny. I still think we can wait on Latavius Murray and Rashad Penny. It's a risk, but we've got Tariq Cohen, Tevin Coleman, Latavius Murray, or Rashad Penny again. What do you guys think? Anyone you want to throw out here for a running back? Cohen, Coleman, Latavius Murray, or Rashad Penny? Anyone? 3, 2, 1, go. Coleman. All right, let's do it. So we're going to draft Tevin Coleman. So our 2 running backs so far are James White and Tevin Coleman. Now this is what I love. Latavius Murray has fallen to us. Now I know that name may not be super duper sexy, and you may be thinking, oh my God, Latavius Murray, whatever, on the Saints. It's going to be the Alvin Kamara show. I get it, because I love Alvin Kamara so much. Totally get it. He has his own identity on this Saints offense. Now, he's not going to be, the like he was on the Vikings when Dalvin Cook got hurt. I totally get that, but he is going to have a role to play. And it is, in Fantasy Judge, it's half PPR, not full PPR. So just to answer your question. And yeah, I really think that we can use Latavius Murray as a good flex. So I'm taking Latavius Murray, but let me give you some other names that are still available right now. Latavius Murray, Miles Sanders, Austin Eckler with this whole Melvin Gordon holdout, and Royce Freeman with that split backfield with Phillip Lindsay. So what round are we in right now? I can't even remember what round we're on. I don't know. I think we're like on 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th, 9th, whatever. But these guys are still available. I'm taking Lat Murray. I like him a lot. Okay, guys, so we have our 2 starting running backs. We also have either a flex or a bench spot here. So why don't, oh gosh. Okay, so this is what's hard about the 0 RB. I do not have a tight end. I also do not have a quarterback yet, but that's okay. If you want to wait on those guys, there's a lot of value to be had late. And this is what's so hard. I may just have to take one more here because Darrell Henderson is available for me to snag. What do you guys think? Should I take Darrell Henderson? He's available. Let's see who else is available right now. Oops, my bad. Okay. All right. So the tight end we have available to us that Fantasy Bros suggested is going to be Jared Cook. We also have Jameis Winston. Wow, really? That's early. Darrell Henderson and Matt Breida. I like Henderson. What do you guys think? I like Darrell Henderson. Why not? Let's fill out that running back, stud line. Yeah, I agree. So I had to like squeeze in play to win Fantas. I think it's fantasy. I get it. So Henderson, let's take him. Let's go ahead and take him. Actually, according to Fantasy Pros, you can still wait on him, but I don't feel comfortable with that. Fantasy Pros says to take Jared Cook. I like Darrell Henderson. Okay, guys. So let me just recap this team real quick. I know I've been doing that a lot, but I just want to refresh your minds here. My running backs are James White, Tevin Coleman, wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, and Juju Smith-Schuster. My flex options are Stephon Diggs, Julian Edelman, Robbie Anderson, Latavius Murray, or Darrell Henderson. Now I can look at my tight end or my quarterback. So let's see what's available to me. So at tight end, we've got Jared Cook, David Njoku. Let's take a look at our quarterbacks right now. All right. Jameis Winston, Kyler Murray, Ben Roethlisberger, Dak Prescott. Wow, there's a lot that are still available there. And then for our tight ends, we've got Jared Cook, Vance McDonald. Wow, but he can probably still fall too. David Njoku or Eric Ebron, or we can go with another wide receiver or running back again because I think we can still wait on the quarterback and the position. So, you want Kyler Murray? Was that a Kyler Murray that I heard being called right there? You know what? Let's be spicy. Let's take, I don't know. He can still fall though. Blah, 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 blah. Who here is in favor of picking up Kyler Murray? Anyone? Press a bunch of those hearts if you think so. Kyler Murray, should we get him as our quarterback? We can always pick up a streamer, put him on our bench. You can do that? In one round, yeah, okay. All right, let's go ahead and pick Kyler Murray. Let's be spicy. Kyler Murray is now our quarterback. So let's take a look at who a bunch of runs just went off the board. Okay. So for the other quarterback positions we have available is Jameis Winston, Lamar Jackson, Phillip Rivers, Mitch Trubisky. And for our tight end position, we've got Austin Hooper, Trey Burton, Delaney Walker, Jack Doyle. Those are the top ones that Fantasy Pros lists off. I don't really have the whole list of which ones are available. Let's go with Delaney Walker. I like him. Let's go with Delaney Walker. I think he's going to have a bounce back year after getting hurt last year. So let's do that. Yep, you can get Olsen later for sure. Yes, for sure. It's RL Kenya 80. I don't know. RL. That's what I'll call you. You can get Olsen later for sure. All right. Kyler Murray, James White, Tevin Coleman, DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster, Delaney Walker, Stephon Diggs, Julian Edelman, Robbie Anderson, Latavius Murray, Darrell Henderson. So far, this team is looking pretty sexy. I'm not going to lie. And this is the 0 RB strategy we're using. So we have our defense special team left. Don't worry about that. You can actually go in your draft without drafting a defense. That's okay. You can stream a defense. It's totally okay. So you've got 2 bench spots left. So let's just go ahead and have fun with this. Let's take, oh my gosh, guys, Mark Andrews. I love Mark Andrews, tight end for the Baltimore Ravens this year. Super sleeper. Let's get him. We're drafting Mark Andrews. All right. So we have one more bench spot. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get our back up. Let's go ahead and let's drop Jameis Winston. We can stream Jameis Winston pretty well against certain defenses. I wouldn't really want to call him your week in, week out starter, but we can stick with him. And you know what? Let's go ahead and have, it says draft the Chargers. Let's do that. So guys, this actually wasn't a horrible draft using 0 RB because there was a lot of middling running backs that were available that are getting a lot of hype this year. So if you want to use the running back position and you're drafting from the 6th, 7th, 8th and on position, you might be able to use this pretty effectively. So interestingly enough, I usually don't subscribe to this at all, but didn't turn out that bad. Let me go ahead and read that back from you so you just have an idea. Again, we had Kyler Murray, James White, Tevin Coleman, DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster, Delaney Walker, Stephon Diggs. We have the Chargers defense, Julian Edelman, Robbie Anderson, Latavius Murray, Darrell Henderson, Mark Andrews, and Jameis Winston. I'm pretty sure that's a sexy team. Fantasy Pros gave me a B-.